For your writing skills this week, let's look at writing in complete sentences. That means that there can be no sentence fragments or what we call run-ons. Let's look at what these are. First of all, we will look at fragments. What's a fragment? A fragment is a piece of a sentence. Complete sentences must have a subject and a verb with a tense. Here are 3 examples of fragments. The first one is she running. No, that's not good enough. Running is not a tense. It's not present or past. It's just the ing form of the verb. But if you can change it, you can add present tense, past tense, future expressions, or something else. Here's another fragment. Went to town. Went is past tense, okay, but there's no subject. Another kind of fragment is a subordinate clause without a main clause, such as because we didn't go. That is a clause, but it is a subordinate clause and it is considered a fragment. How can you complete them? Very easily. You can say, she was running. She is running. She will be running, but there has to be a tense. Or, my aunt went to town, we went to town, they went to town, or anything else, but there must be a subject. Every subordinate clause must have a main clause. So, for example, they were angry with us because we didn't go. Because we didn't go is your subordinate clause, and it is connected to the main clause, they were angry with us. Let's look at run-on sentences. Run-on sentences are missing punctuation. And when I'm reading it, I'm trying to figure out, where does your sentence end? So here's an example of a very long run-on, and I'm going to try to read it, but it's very difficult without punctuation. So take a deep breath. I was exhausted. I had already been running for 25 miles and I was only a bit more than a mile from the finish line. Andrew was gaining on me and I was sure he was going to beat me. I was in agony. Why do I do this? I asked myself. I must be crazy. What? That is a good story, but I cannot understand it without punctuation. First of all, find the verbs and their subject. So here we look at the verbs first. They are underlined. I was exhausted. I had been running. I was a bit more than a mile. Andrew was gaining on me. I was sure he was. I do. I asked. I must. Good. Now, every verb with a tense must have a subject, so they are in this reddish color. I was exhausted. I had already been running. I was only a bit more than a mile. Andrew was gaining on me, and I was sure he was going to beat me. I was in agony. Why do I do this? I asked myself, I must be crazy. Once you have the verbs and their subjects, then you can figure out where to put the punctuation. So let's add some punctuation to this paragraph. The first clause is a main clause. I was exhausted, period. I had already been running for 25 miles, comma, and I was only a bit more than a mile from the finish line, period. Why that comma in front of and? Remember, fanboys? That's the reason why. There must be a comma in front of the word and. Here comes the next main clause. Andrew was gaining on me. Another comma, and I was sure he was going to beat me. There's no need for punctuation between I was sure and he was going to beat me, because he was going to beat me is really a subordinate clause. I was sure that he was going to beat me. We don't need to use the word that. The next clause, I was in agony, main clause. Now a question. Why do I do this? Question mark. I asked myself, period. I must be crazy. Now, if you think that punctuation doesn't matter, let's look at these two sentences. Here's our wonderful grandmother. The first sentence says, let's eat grandma. No, 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 that's not good. That means we're going to eat grandmother. No, no, the correct way is to say, let's eat, comma, grandma. That means let's eat together with grandma. Grandma is just a way of saying mother, father, brother, sister. Let's eat grandma. All right, very good. I'll see you soon.